As one of the eeriest mainstream rock acts of the 90s, Seattle's Alice in Chains left an indelible mark and persevered in the face of unimaginable tragedy. From their unlikely origins to losing their iconic lead singer and beyond, this is the untold truth of Alice in Chains. The Alice in Chains story, believe it or not, starts with a glam metal band called Sleaze, which later became known as Alice in Chains, spelled differently than the future grunge metal icons with just an N. Sleaze was founded by Layne Staley, who then came across future Alice in Chains bandmate Jerry Cantrell. The two hit it off, and after the first Alice in Chains and Cantrell's own band dissolved, Cantrell started another band with Mike Starr and Sean Kinney, while Staley was working with a funk band. Cantrell and Staley struck a deal. They'd perform in each other's bands and play fair. However, the funk group didn't last, and Staley became a permanent member of the other band, which they named Alice in Chains with an IN. The band's popularity was well-earned, and its members worked really hard to establish themselves in the industry.
It just comes to us, and none of us have really had any musical training.
Speaking to Rolling Stone in 1992, Cantrell expressed how he was proud of their work and was also aware of the fact that their style was a little more brooding and introspective. The musician added, "Some stuff grabs you right away. Ours is really an acquired taste. It takes a few deep bites to get what it's all about." Alice in Chains frontman Layne Staley was a sensational performer who knew exactly how to captivate his audience and come up with unique sounds. He was in the same league as fellow grunge scene frontmen Kurt Cobain, Chris Cornell, and Eddie Vedder, with a voice that was vulnerable and powerful at the same time. Sully Erna of the band Godsmack, named after an Alice in Chains song, once commented that he was inspired to sing thanks to Staley. Erna told MTV News, "His vocal style in general was so different from anything that anyone was writing that it was so appealing and attractive that you couldn't help but be influenced by it." Guitarist Johnny Bacolas, who worked with the singer in his early days, said that unlike a lot of guys, Staley wasn't copying the vocal stylings of rock icons like Ozzy Osbourne or Rob Halford. He told The Atlantic, "Layne had his own thing, and I think that's what was the most appealing about him. He had a very distinctive voice." As the original Alice in Chains lineup solidified, Layne Staley took on the role of lead singer, and Jerry Cantrell focused on guitar. Cantrell had extensive vocal experience, choir and a cappella as a teenager, but he was too nervous to sing in the band. Staley provided the push. Cantrell recalled to Guitar World in 2009, "Layne was really responsible for giving me the confidence to become more of a singer. He'd say, 'You wrote this song, this means something to you, sing it.' It kicked my ass out of the nest." During Alice in Chains' dormant periods, Cantrell launched a solo career, and from the mid-2000s on, he's the band's co-lead vocalist. In a parallel story, Staley needed the approval of another high-level musician to do more than just sing for Alice in Chains. Cantrell told Staley's inspiration, Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine, on the musician's podcast Maximum Firepower, he wanted to play guitar more and he was kind of intimidated because he didn't play that much guitar, but he really was turned on by how you played guitar.
Tom Morello, the guitar player, taught me how to play guitar.
Staley went on to create some of Alice in Chains' best-known riffs, including the ones that drove Angry Chair, Hate to Feel, and Head Creeps. While Alice in Chains released a self-titled album in 1995, it didn't tour behind it. It was something of a strategic comeback when Alice in Chains re-emerged in 1996, planning to hit the road as the opening act for Kiss and replacing the previously booked Stone Temple Pilots, which dropped out when singer Scott Weiland checked into a drug rehab program. As a lead-up to its first real slate of concerts in 3 years, Alice in Chains taped an episode of the acclaimed concert series MTV Unplugged, where it played primarily acoustic versions of its heavy rock in a small performance space. The made-for-TV concert seemed to unfold nicely, but at a 2018 concert, guitarist Jerry Cantrell told fans that it only seemed that way thanks to the magic of retakes and editing. Cantrell revealed, "Funny story, we did the Unplugged in New York and Layne kept f***ing up Sludge Factory. We did it like 8 times, he blew the same thing in the second verse." Staley never did get it right. He audibly mumbles some frustrated profanity in the televised performance. After Unplugged, Alice in Chains warmed up Kiss audiences in Detroit, Louisville, and Kansas City. Alice in Chains then bowed out as Staley had overdosed on drugs and required hospitalization. That concert in Kansas City would be the last time Alice in Chains performed with Staley on lead vocals.
The lead singer of the rock band Alice in Chains has been found dead in his Seattle home.
Fans were devastated when they heard the news on April 5, 2002 that Layne Staley had died of an accidental overdose. In the late 1990s, Staley suffered a major blow when he lost his fiancée, Demry, to an overdose. The singer was heartbroken and didn't take great care of himself as a result. It's believed that he spent a huge chunk of his final years by himself and even stopped consuming regular food, mostly relying on supplements. Staley seemed to know what was coming for him if one biography is to be believed. Adriana Rubio, author of the biography Layne Staley, Angry Chair, claimed to have interviewed Staley a few months before he died, though his family and friends later questioned the interview's authenticity. In the alleged exchange, Rubio claims Staley told her, My drug use is like the insulin a diabetic needs to survive. I'm not using drugs to get high like many people think. I know I'm near death. I did crack and heroin for years. I never wanted to end my life this way. I know I have no chance. It's too late." Layne Staley's death was a huge blow, but for several years before his death, Alice in Chains had been on hiatus and the bandmates were estranged. At the time of Staley's death, neither drummer Sean Kinney nor guitarist Jerry Cantrell had spoken to the singer for more than 2 years. Alice in Chains made a comeback in 2006, with William DuVall taking Staley's place. The first album with a new frontman, Black Gives Way to Blue, was released in 2009. Cantrell felt reasonably confident about Alice in Chains at this point, telling Vice, "We weren't nervous because we felt the same way we felt every time we put a record out. We knew it was good. We were continuing on. We were reinventing ourselves. Those are all elements of everybody's life." In the days following Staley's death, however, the band was too shaken up and didn't feel like performing. They considered doing something private as a tribute to Staley, but things were uncertain until 2005 when the band got together to play a benefit concert. Cantrell said, "That was a really heavy night to stand up there without Layne and play those tunes, but it was also very triumphant and cathartic." Most fans were happy to see Alice in Chains back in action after their long break from the industry. For new singer William DuVall, being part of the band was a huge responsibility, but he was encouraged by Staley's family to perform. Layne Staley's dad, Phil, told KOMO News, "William has done a wonderful job, and I couldn't be prouder that the group is still carrying on. I love all those guys." Cantrell first became close with DuVall when he toured with the band Comes With a Fall in 2002, and he asked the singer to participate in Decades Rock Live, a VH1 concert honoring Hart. That band's singer, Ann Wilson, had invited Alice in Chains, and they were supposed to perform the latter's hit Rooster together. But when Wilson was a no-show for rehearsals, DuVall stood in and impressed Alice in Chains and Wilson, who happily ceded the spot. Alice in Chains then staged a limited set of shows and considered adopting a new name, before ultimately officially reforming with DuVall as its frontman. DuVall was incredibly touched by the support he received. He recalled singing with the audience members at a concert and told Loudwire, "That's such an unbelievably beautiful feeling. All you can do in the moment is kind of be in the moment, so you're not really thinking about how profound this is."
Thank you for allowing us to do what we do.
In a world that's often hooked to social media, the members of Alice in Chains prefer to take a slightly different approach. According to Jerry Cantrell, they don't like being too active online. He told Vice, "I don't want any part of it. I think we all do a lot better to know there's no putting the genie back in the bottle, so I'll just stay out of it. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't tweet." The band is old school in that way and likes to maintain an air of mystery. Cantrell added that he understands that their attitude doesn't work for the many other musicians who prefer using social media to connect with their fans. He said, "I'm not going to say it doesn't work for someone else. Obviously, a lot of people on the planet are involved with it, so that's just my particular take on it." At the beginning of 2025, it looked like Alice in Chains could have a very busy year. Following a 2-year period in which the band performed just once, guitarist Jerry Cantrell had taken some time to record a solo album and tour to promote it. Alice in Chains announced that it would be part of multiple spring and summer rock festivals. The band was also planning to headline some gigs on its own at arenas and casinos, before wrapping it all up with a spot on the bill of Ozzy Osbourne's farewell Black Sabbath show. On May 10, 2025, Alice in Chains revealed that almost all of its plans were no longer valid. During a pre-show equipment check at a May 8 concert in Connecticut, the band's veteran and original drummer Sean Kinney sustained what the band called a non-life-threatening medical emergency. That show was immediately canceled, and then so was the rest of the tour when it became evident that Kinney wouldn't soon be up to the rigors of touring and playing. Alice in Chains said in a statement on its Instagram account, "While we were all eager to return to the stage, Sean's health is our top priority at this moment. Although this issue requires immediate attention, his long-term prognosis is positive." If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's national helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.